Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Story Nook. Go grab words is difficult. Go ahead, grab your tea, your coffee, your hot chocolate, whatever it is you want, and we're gonna go ahead and read some more stories. This story today comes from PettyRevenge, posted by user Internet Drama Lobster. We're just going to go ahead and increase that. Someone suggested I post this story from my wedding here, featuring my husband's ex. It's not an ex-husband, it's the husband's ex. Important info, we decided to have a micro wedding with just our immediate family there, around 10 people. We got married at a venue that is known for holding very large events, but we hired a smaller room there. I think by hired, OP means rented, but who knows. My husband has a child with his ex, so sees her quite often for things related to my stepkid. We were always planning on inviting her to the wedding to see their kid all dressed up and to genuinely keep a good co-parenting relationship. But before we had invited her, she informed dear husband that she'd be there and asked when and where it was. He was a little taken aback, but as we were planning on inviting her anyway, just told her. On the day, she showed up to our morning ceremony wearing the shortest dress I've ever seen, over stockings and suspenders. The suspenders could be seen for a good 6 inches before the bottom of the dress. Skyscraper heels, nightclub makeup, and costume jewelry. My father actually pulled me aside to ask, who hired a stripper? I like Dad. I like OP's dad. He's just like, who the fuck hired a stripper? I found out afterwards from mutual friends that she had texted all of them asking when they were getting here because she had invited herself. We hadn't thought to let her know it was such a small ceremony, and when they let her know it was a family only and the reception was completely separate, she began to panic a little. And I had the best petty revenge. I asked everyone to be extra nice to her. Every time she tried to sneak away, someone would engage her in conversation. She was extremely uncomfortable and ended up sitting down with her coat covering her. The wedding went off without a hitch. I'm not sure what she expected to happen, but it all worked out fine in the end. I'm also not sure, like, was she trying to dress sexy to get the husband back? I don't get why you would do that. Personally, I am of the mindset of, you broke up for a reason. Obviously, there are issues with both of y'all, and it's probably best to just never get back together. Which is why I don't get why people get back together, so whatever. But we're gonna go ahead and go to our next story. Oh, text message. Our next story is also from PettyRevenge, and it's posted by user Perfunctory. And the moon was high in the sky. I like the title. A recent post asking for advice on annoyance reminded me of what I did to an ex. Ooh, we got another one involving exes. The guy was a real jerk, and I absolutely had it with him. He worked in Manhattan and commuted from Long Island, a 90-minute train ride, followed by a subway ride and a few blocks of walking. So going home wasn't really an option if something happened to his clothes. Anyway, we'd had a fight the day before, and he called me pretty foul names because I corrected him and proven him wrong about some fact he swore was true. He was a petty fucker, and I have no idea why I stayed with him for as long as I did. Anyway, he hated being embarrassed, and one night when he was drunk, he told me how during school, when he was a teen, the seat of his pants gave out and ripped during class. His parents both worked in the city, and commuting home to get him from school or bring him a change of clothes wasn't an option. He ended up having to wear a pair of basketball shorts from the Lost and Found over his ripped jeans all day. The teasing lasted until he graduated a few years later. Anyway, he called me a sanctimonious cunt for politely saying, "Josh, you've got your dates mixed up. The Civil War started in 1861, not 1859. He was verbally abusive over his mistake and said I embarrassed him. We were playing a trivia game with two friends of his in teams, and I wanted to point for getting it right. Losing team paid for pizza and beer, and his two friends could eat a whole pie each and put away a six-pack on top of it. I had enough of his bullshit. His friend brought up the high school incident, and I realized I had the perfect revenge. He wore his blue slacks more often than the others, so wear and tear was expected. They were several years old, and I had to help him fix a hymn that let down a few months earlier. Something going wrong with them wouldn't be suspicious at all. So I took a seam ripper and carefully undid every third stitch. Just enough damage that they'd eventually fail, but not so much damage they failed the first time he sat down. The next day, he pulled them on and went to work like normal. Around lunchtime, I get a panicked phone call because the entire seat of his pants had torn out, exposing his skid-mark-stained tighty-whities to everyone in the conference room during a meeting. He had nothing else to wear and obviously couldn't leave the building to go shopping like that. The whole seam had just given away. Fuck! It took every ounce of control I had to sound sorry and bewildered. I must have asked a half-dozen times how that could have happened. He says they must have been older than he remembered and begged me to bring him new slacks. Sadly, I was at work and unable to leave and help. Well, so imagine a grown-ass man walking around with a suit jacket tied around his waist all day to hide his underwear. He resigned soon after because of the humiliation. I dumped him about a week later. It was glorious. He was utterly humiliated while giving a presentation. I had no idea he had a presentation that day. I just figured they bust in the break room or when he sat down at some point during the day. Messing with seams is a great way to get petty revenge on someone. They'll have no idea it was you and think it's just a wardrobe malfunction. And I love that. Oh, he is secretly evil. And we have one more story from Petty Revenge. Oh, no, we don't. I actually read this one last time. I read that one last time. I just didn't close the tab for it. So never mind. We're just going to leave it on those two. And thank you all so much for being here. I hope you're having a great time. Let me know if there's any other kind of stories you want me to read down in the comment section below. And yeah, have a lovely day. Stay safe, stay hydrated, all that good stuff. Bye-bye.